And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The move.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground. You wanna mess with us?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in the B Plus land. I am your host, Mr. Mysterious, and welcome once again to All the Rest, a special MOMMA LYNCH Day edition of All the Rest. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. This is going to be a very interesting episode of All the Rest for you guys, because it's been an interesting week in the world of professional wrestling. For those of you new to my episodes, I go through all the wrestling news that we don't cover in our usual scheduled programming. So I cover a bit of everything, cover a bit of MLW, bit of NWA, bit of All Elite Wrestling, and just all the weird, wacky news that I hear out of WWE and just out there in the world, because professional wrestling, it needs to be condensed into some kind of package, like what I do for All the Rest, a little hour package for you guys, because we're just nice like that. So, a little bit of housekeeping, birthday news, where would we be without the birthday news? At the moment I'm recording, to wish a happy 32nd birthday to Lince Dorado of the Lucha House Party, I believe. Yeah, they won last week on the latest episode of Raw, which was good for them. We had Billy Kidman, he turns 45, renowned cruiserweight in WCW and early days of WWF and everything else. Good on him. The glorious one, Robert Roode, or is it Bobby Roode? Whatever he's calling himself these days. Robert Roode, 42. Glorious birthday to you, sir. Best of luck. And for the Mother's Day edition here, we have Doug Basham of the Basham Brothers. He turns 48. Wow, that's right. Yeah, wow. And we have Kushida, the newest signee of the NXT roster. He turns 36. So, lot of birthdays there. Hopefully, a lot of people celebrating and doing what they do best on their special days. So, with that all being said, guys, let's cover a little bit of MLW news, NWA, and being the elite. So, we'll start with NWA. Really, we do have a latest episode of 10 Pounds of Gold. Finally, it's been a fair few weeks. NWA really need to sort out when they're actually going to sort out the 10 Pounds of Gold episodes. They need to make it a little bit more consistent, because they've slacked. They have slacked. Like, they were going to do the One Nation thing with Willie Mack, except he's no longer the champion unless they start doing that with their new champion, Colt Cabana. I have no idea. They're a little bit up in the air. But really, this 10 Pounds of Gold really went through recapping the Crockett Cup, which was incredible. For those of you who haven't seen it, I did a quick rundown of it on last week's episode, so I'm not going to do that again. This episode of 10 Pounds of Gold pretty much does that exact same thing. It talks about the history of the Crockett Cup, the history of tag team wrestling growing into prominence in the 70s and the 80s, like from about 4 decades ago. And we just went through pretty much match by match, going through all the teams, going through all the hearing from Jim Cornette and some of the great legends of the past and the future stars. And yeah, what else is there to say? Except, of course, congratulations to Villain Enterprises, who are also in the news this week for another reason, which we will touch on later. But yeah, very sweet. I would like a little bit more of a special footage in the 10 Pounds of Gold that we don't really necessarily see earlier, because it feels like we're just kind of rehashing what NWA put up the week before with these 10 Pounds of Gold. So I'm hoping for a little bit more interplay. And I don't know, who they have to build up to someone else being the new challenger for Nick Aldis for the 10 Pounds of Gold. We'll see who that is at some point. So I apologize if I'm sounding cynical. I did love the Crockett Cup, but we'll see what happens. Like, the NWA, they're kind of quieting down for a little while, then they perk back up again with whatever big news they have in store. So be sure to tune in with us for that. We'll keep you guys privy to all their goings on. Cut to what I really want to talk about. Major League Wrestling, episode 56, main evented by LA Park versus Pentagon Jr. And the big part of this is the fact that it was a very special episode because the empresaria of Promociones Dorado, the Bruja, to all her haters, Selena De La Renta was the executive producer of this episode of MLW, and apparently it was one of their highest rated episodes to date. So we might see more of Selena in charge in the future, because who doesn't like a woman in charge? Like, well, the way she phrased it was, who doesn't like a woman on top? But I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. I love this episode, like mainly because of Selena. Like, just she's this amazing personality. She had this big platform just to completely be like bombastic and like revel in her brilliance and her glory, and I absolutely loved it. So we opened up, so new theme song. I love the new theme song. I believe it's just a special theme song for this episode, but I'm sure if they keep her around for more executive roles, like for more executive episodes, they're going to bring it back. So we open up with Selena. She's on the phone. She looks drop dead gorgeous, and she's watching Loki do push-ups, because why not? And she's doing business, and Loki's trying to get her attention about, I've got a match against Darga. We should probably prepare for that. And she cannot care less. She's like, no, you do you. I'll do me. And there's a little bit of tension. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with Loki, whether it's going to escalate some more, because it feels like Promociones are still in their prime. Like, I'm hoping, like, I feel like LA Park is going to beat Tom Lawler at some point, and then they have the new championship lined up. So I feel like at some point they have to have all the gold before they go their separate ways. But I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. She is all over this episode. So from the introduction to the theme song to the commentary to coming out during her clients' matches, because every match has a client of Selena De La Renta, except for the Loki match. So he comes out by himself, which is setting up a little bit of stuff there, because Loki he's in an alliance with Selena. He is not a member of Promociones. He is Black Friday management, but it's curious if they're going to keep bringing that up, because the last time Black Friday was in prominence, we had Stokely Hathaway, and he's over in NXT. So if they do reignite that, it might just be a slow burn like they're doing now. But to the match itself, right off the bat, Loki defeated Darga. He did it in a quick roll-up, which is surprising. So he had to really dig deep to get one over Darga in this one. But this is one of my favorite. Like, Loki has two kinds of matches. He has one where he's sizing up the other wrestler, and they kind of don't really get into much before they start. And then it's just the hard-hitting action. Loki's just like going full off the cuff, desperate, or very precise in his movements. This is the match that I love of Loki. So this is one of my favorite openings to an MLW episode. Cannot say enough about it. Really happy with it. So Loki is 2-0 against Darga after ripping his ear off. And there was a bit of a promo a couple days ago, actually, where Loki is just stirring up Darga so much, reminding everyone that he ripped his ear off. Just like, can you hear me? He's just being an absolute prick, and I love Loki when he is just really smug like that. But we cut back to Selena, because of course we do, and she announces the brackets for the upcoming 4-man National Championship tournament. So the 4 people announced, Gringo Loco, Alexander Hammerstone, Brian Pillman Jr., and Rich Swann. This kind of upset me. I mean, from the get-go, the moment I saw this bracket, I was like, where the hell is Loki? Because if we're going to enforce the weight classes now, and Loki's not going to go down to the middleweight roster, because that would be a step down, he has to go for the open weight. And I feel like, am I crazy, or last week did he actually ask Selena, I need to prepare for the open weight tournament? And he's no longer a member. He's actually not in the tournament at all. So there might be some more tension in the coming weeks as well. A lot of up in the air things with all the factions at the moment. I'm really curious what's going to happen. So immediately from these 4 entrants, you can kind of tell who's going to win. So there's really only 2 ways to go about this. So they're going to have 2 semi-final matches. Gringo Loco going up against Hammerstone. Hammerstone is undefeated. so far, yeah, Hammerstone's gonna, and Gringo Loco's been a jobber for a while, so Hammerstone's gonna win that one. Then the next week's match is going to be Brian Pillman Jr. against Rich Swann. Rich Swann has a storyline where everyone's out to get him, including the referees. That storyline's going to keep going, so Brian Pillman Jr. is going to probably win that. So we're going to have the Dynasty and the Hart Foundation facing off for a clash over the National Openweight Championship to become the inaugural champion at Fury Road, June 1st. And honestly, it feels like Hammerstone should win this. Like, he is the most obvious choice because the dude he's a big boy, undefeated, chiseled, he's got the charisma, and he gives Dynasty some credibility, which means like they have a championship now. And it can give a bit of tension between MJF and Hammerstone, just like, oh, who's really in charge of the Dynasty? You know? But they could go, I wouldn't be against it. If they go with Brian Pillman, then it means that the Hart Foundation will have 2 double champions in their faction. And there's even talks at Fury Road that Davey Boy will... No, not at Fury Road. Sorry, later on down the line, Davey Boy will actually take on Tom Lawler as a top contender. So you have the opportunity there for every member of the Hart Foundation to become double champions and win all the gold. That would be unprecedented. It would be incredible. I can see them doing that. So personally, I think they should just give the title to Hammerstone out of the 4 people, even though I was gunning for Loki and I'm a little bit salty about that. But of those 2 choices, there's really, that's the only way they're going to go about it. So we have another clip from Tom Lawler claiming that he will take on all comers for his title. Nothing we haven't seen before. We have some backstage again with Sami Callihan, he's just being a doofus, but he's a lovable doofus in MLW. That's why we like him. He's threatening the cameraman to follow him around, and he attacks Ricky Martinez, steals his phone. Ooh, what's he going to do with the phone? Can he work the phone? We'll see. We had our second match. El Hijo de LA Park defeated Gringo Loco. I like this match. So, El Hijo and Gringo, they faced off a few times before now. And El Hijo, he hasn't had a chance to really do much. But I'm excited to say that this one really showcased his talents. It showed a little bit more personality. He likes to do a little bit of the Val Venus gyrating. He likes to be a bit cocky. And it's kind of hard, especially with the mask and everything else, to kind of get that across. Sometimes body language doesn't do much. Like, you need the expression, and he's a luchador, so I can't see his face properly. But that was pretty much solid. Again, Selena came out for that one. Very impressive lucha-style match. Gringo Loco, still enhancement talent for everyone else. But yeah, El Hijo seemed happy with his victory, and so did Selena, so can't complain there. We had a segment following with the Contra unit warning Barrington Hughes, who apparently is undefeated in MLW still. I think that's one of those things I kind of forgot about. Just like, oh, shit, Caramel Colossus is still undefeated. So we had a match. We're going to have a matchup next week. Barrington Hughes against Jacob Fatu. Ooh, cannot wait. Hopefully Fatu can get a good match out of Barrington, because you can only do so much with the Caramel Colossus when he's that size and he doesn't have a big moveset. I mean, gone are the days of the very first episode of MLW where he defeated someone in like 5 seconds. You know, there's really not much more you can say about that. So Callahan, he figured out how to work Selena's phone. Oh, he worked Martinez's phone. He called Selena, saying that she stuck her nose in his business. Selena's speaking to him in Spanish, which infuriates him, who says that he's not done yet. So he's stolen a piece of property. He hasn't really done much yet. He's just being a cog in the wheel. And Gringo Loco, yeah, that match is going to happen next week against Alexander Hammerstone. Main event time, LA Park versus Pentagon Jr. Just yes. Just yes. 53-year-old LA Park, completely methodical. For a big man, he keeps looking more and more impressive. Like, Pentagon, they don't know when exactly, if he's going to be exclusive to All Elite Wrestling yet. That's still a bit up in the air. So at the moment, him and Phoenix are really like putting over the other guys in the other companies, which is valid. And it makes LA Park look like a real big-ass threat to Tom Lawler, because he definitely is. This one, yeah, referee discretion. Like there wasn't much hardcore in this, and it seemed like it was an actual wrestling match in MLW, a proper wrestling match, which is unprecedented for LA Park. Usually he's relying on some kind of weaponry, but no, we kind of proved. I think this match might have been to prove that he can go. He doesn't have to be a hardcore wrestler. He can just, he can do whatever he wants because he's LA Park, and we can't fault him for that. So throughout this match, Selena tried to get involved. Pentagon gave her a wet one on the lips for interfering. She kind of smacked him around a little bit. She tried to tie his mask to the ring ropes and let LA Park just work at it. And yeah, this is lucha. This is lucha wrestling. This is what I love. Freaking LA Park did a suicide dive through the barrier and like through the ring post, and it was just takes your breath away. Like he did a perfectly timed spear after doing a kick off the top rope. I mean, I love LA Park. What's more than this? I'm going to keep gushing if I keep at it. So after this, Selena is reveling in her brilliance, thanking the crowd for all their money that LA Park received, which is the usual lucha custom, and declares that she will celebrate the Cinco de Mayo episode of MLW in Miami or another place other than the dump they're in at the moment. I believe it's probably in New York, that's Loki's hometown, Brooklyn, New York. We don't want to dive into that too much. And then, before we end the episode, large gift. What could it be for Selena? Surprise, it's Mance Warner. He starts attacking LA Park. That one's going to keep going off. And that was MLW episode 56. Loved it. What could I say? Loved it. Really looking. MLW is white hot right now, and especially in the current climate of WWE, which we'll get to in a moment. Yeah, what more can you say? We've got some All Elite Wrestling to cover, guys. As always, Being the Elite, episode 150. We had a very, very vivid visual of Michael Nakazawa putting on some lubricants and everything else, which, yeah, that happened. Cody is reading from his storybook to people at his house, which the moment he's at his house, he becomes crazier than usual. So, like, never trust his sanity when he's in his home. We see Joey Janela. He's at Disneyland, and everyone's asking him about his wife because, of course, they are. Brandy is preparing for a photo shoot with a couple of the other All Elite Wrestling girls. Ali was there. They're kind of being a little bit catty about Ali, like, being the Demon Bunny in Impact Wrestling, which I like the Demon Bunny. I thought that was fine. Although I came into it towards the tail end, but yeah, I enjoyed it. We have Kenny and Cody are getting cozy. That's a lovely tongue twister about a couple of the signings and trying to, they're the true EVPs apparently over the Young Bucks. There needs to be a fifth member to be a tiebreaker at some point. Maybe Joey Ryan. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We have Hangman Page, who is trying to get Full Gear ready. He's only a couple weeks away, and he gets a message from Park saying if he wants to really be Full Gear ready, he needs a little bit of something. And it's Michael's secret stuff. It was on the bottle there. He initially says no, but then he just says screw it, starts guzzling. It lists all these side effects. We'll see what happens there. Like, can he truly be Full Gear ready when he's taken that extra thing? Like, will it do more harm than good? We'll see in the next couple weeks. We have the referee talk about the Casino Battle Royal, which used to be the over budget Battle Royal, but it's been renamed. You'll have 21 wrestlers competing, starting with 5 men. Every 3 minutes, a new wave of 5 men will enter. Lucky 21 will be the last. Battle Royal entry numbers are picked at a later date. The referee he had one job and he messed it up. Poor guy. Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, they're promoting that story on Being the Elite. We're seeing more of the Young Bucks training. Apparently, they've got a very innovative double tag team move that apparently we're not allowed to see just yet. So they still have a few tricks up their sleeve. Smart as the Lucha Brothers watch. Very smart. We'll see what happens there. And we ended this episode where it was the indie event where Chris Jericho appeared, and then Kenny Omega followed. Like, look at it was Southern Honor Wrestling. Like, that's the one. So what followed? It was like a 20-minute video of Kenny Omega. Apparently, one of the Southern Honor Wrestling guys attacked Kenny, and what followed was pretty much every member of their roster beating the shit out of this one guy, followed by Kenny, who got a little bit excited and just beating the shit out of this poor sap. And then we have a ransom note, because this is the name of the episode, from some mysterious figures, the Best Friends. I mean, who could they possibly be? It's the Best Friends. Saying that they need to be in the main event, not the Casino Battle Royal, or they'll kill the Young Bucks kids. We can't kill their kids, they start bickering. They're like, they're lovely. They have lovely children. Why would you say that? You know, then, yeah, if it wasn't clear, it was the Best Friends. We'll see if they eventually get kicked out of the Battle Royal. I don't know. I feel like just out of spite, they might just do that. And then we had the Road to Double or Nothing with the Painmaker now. I probably should start calling him Chris Jericho. He has a little bit of an argument with Cody, saying he doesn't trust him because his dad promised him things and he didn't deliver, so he thinks like father, like son. Yeah, he attacks one of the All Elite Wrestling staff, knocks him out, steals his apple, whatever. Like, Chris Jericho is in this weird grunge phase. I'll allow it. And this is really a different format to the Road to Double or Nothing, because we're really cutting to all the different stories, because we're only a couple weeks away, as I've mentioned before. And they announced a few new signings for the over-budget Battle Royal, or the Casino Battle Royal, I should say. We have Dustin Thomas, the famous no-legged wrestler who was part of Joey Janela's Spring Break. But I'll have to talk to maybe Greg at a later date about that. And yeah, we're pretty much going through everything else that's going on. All Elite Wrestling doing all the right things, got a lot of big names lined up, both backstage and in the ring. We'll be talking about that later as well. So that was the rundown, guys. MLW, NWA, All Elite Wrestling. Before I get into the signings and all the other weird news that we have this week, let's hear from our sponsors.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, Outbreak Nutrition. Outbreak Nutrition are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out outbreaknutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, outbreaknutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B+ podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
And we're back, guys. Let's go through all the wrestling news here in this weird, wacky world that we call professional wrestling now. I've been looking at the ratings of this episodes, and we need to spice things up. So there's someone here, and I'm going to make it seem like it's my idea. So Vince McMahon had this thing called the wildcard rule. I don't think you guys have heard about it, where in this homage, we're going to bring someone over from one of our other podcasts. So without further ado, Greg Unchained.
I love that. You're gonna make it seem like it was your idea, like you came up with it on the spot. I'm a genius, damn it.
Innovator, right here. How are you, my friend?
Yeah. Obviously, as the super producer, I kind of actually tell you what to do. It's no secret.
Exactly.
I was like, I'm coming on the show this week, brother. I got some things to say. Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm still recovering from the hole in my mouth. Believe it or not, I know it's been over a week, but I'm still on soft foods. I've only just started eating solid foods again, and it's fucking killing my life, man. It's taking forever to heal. I'm on antibiotics for it now.
It took me a good few weeks after my wisdom teeth, so I feel your pain, man. I really do.
It's a bummer, dude. It's such a bummer.
But hopefully we can talk about all the news on the Mama Lynch edition of All the Rest. Maybe that can help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy Mama Lynch Day, everyone. Today, like as this goes out, it's Sunday. It's the day we celebrate Mama Lynches all around the world. So if you are a Mama Lynch, or if you have a Mama Lynch, which everyone has a Mama Lynch, happy Mama Lynch Day.
Now, let's get into all the signings. Really, it's just All Elite Wrestling going through, as I mentioned before, Dustin Thomas. You watched Joey Janela's Spring Break. What did you think of Dustin during that?
No legs. Oh, man. This guy. So Joey Janela's Spring Break was amazing. And it was one of those things where when I talked about it, I was so obsessed with the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan match.
Yep.
And that was the match that stole the show for me. And I almost forgot about No Legs versus Tony Deppen. Tony Deppen is an amazing wrestler in his own right, and I enjoy his work with as a member of the Fist in Chikara, of course. And he's fantastic, and I'm a big fan of Tony Deppen. And his match with No Legs, who they played it off as No Legs was a member of the crowd, and he went, and there were literal gasps from the audience as he picked up this guy out of a wheelchair and dragged him to the ring to beat the shit out of him. Like, people didn't realize that's a wrestler. Yeah. And he works Southern Honor Wrestling, and he's been signed, and it's amazing. I'm so happy that he's been signed, because what he can do is incredible, and he's gonna wow some people, man. He's gonna wow. Like, people thought Zach Gowen was good. This is like Zach Gowen, but with an extra missing leg. No, I feel awful. No, but he's actually amazing. And the video hyped it up really well too,
Absolutely.
right? Like, he's an athlete. He's always been an athlete his entire life.
I love the little hype package there, and I'm glad you mentioned as well the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan match, because All Elite Wrestling have also signed Rick Knox and Bryce Remsburg.
Bryce motherfucking Remsburg, the best referee. Yeah, best referee in the world, man. Chikara head referee for a long time. He was also the director of Fun in Chikara. Anyone who listens to this show regularly knows that, listens to this network regularly. We're kind of a network now.
Yeah,
really.
I like to think of this. Yeah.
Anyone who listens to the B Plus regularly knows that I am a huge Chikara fan, and in fact, there is a Chikara show in the works. Like, as if I don't have enough time on. Anyway, there's a Chikara show in the works, people. But Bryce Remsburg, amazing. So, not to take away from Rick Knox. Rick Knox is an incredible referee. He's got a great body of work. But Bryce Remsburg, just go watch Invisible Stan versus Invisible Man. It's literally Bryce Remsburg jumping around a ring for 5 minutes.
It's incredible.
If you can put over a match between two invisible people, like, you are the best referee of all time. I'm sorry, Red Shoes. I'm sorry, Earl Hebner. I'm sorry, Lil Nate. Bryce Remsburg is the man. He is the best referee of all time, and he is now All Elite, and I'm so happy for this.
Can't wait. Some more people signed with All Elite Wrestling. Coach Jerry Lynn. So he's the first person announced as being in a coaching position. So we have Billy Gunn, like, they call him coach, but yeah, and it's expected, like, Christopher Daniels and a couple other people, they're going to be those coaching positions. But
yeah, he's the new coach and show. You heard it here first. I'm the first person I've heard say that. So he's the new coach and show. This coach position is very interesting, because they're playing it off like maybe it's an agent position, right? But I've also heard rumors and rumblings, and don't ask me where. Okay. Because I don't remember where. I listen to a zillion podcasts, and I read a zillion sites, and so I can't remember where it was, but I have heard rumblings that they have purchased a school.
Yes.
Or that they are building a school. And that they're going to have, that the All Elite Wrestling are going to sort of have their own little performance center school system. And so Jerry Lynn might end up there, as may Christopher Daniels, as may Billy Gunn. Like, they may not just be agents, they may actually be literal coaches. So pretty cool.
I would be down for that. We have some.
Jerry Lynn has some of the most, like, he has his series with Rob Van Dam was just revelatory in the early 2000s. Like, it blew my mind at the time watching that. Like, I remember getting, I think it was Guilty as Charged on VHS from Leading Edge Video, right? Because I'm like, well, I've already watched every single WWF and WCW tape here. What the fuck's this ECW moment? I grabbed a handful of tapes. The first one I watched was actually the Triple Threat ladder match with Terry Funk and stuff. That was the first one I watched. But then I watched like a weird house show one, but then it was Guilty as Charged 2000, I think.
Yep.
And oh man, Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam, holy shit. So Jerry Lynn in this position makes me very happy.
Love it. We've got Angelico and Jack Evans, of course. They've also been signed to All Elite Wrestling. It's been confirmed now. I believe they're going to be...
Is it Angelico or is it Angelico?
Probably Angelico.
Yeah. Come on, man. You're butchering the language.
Yeah, I am. I need to learn some Espanol. We need, of course, we know Angelico from Lucha Underground, from that big-ass dive that he did off the Lucha Temple that went viral.
Yes, indeed.
It was incredible.
Speaking of big-ass dives, sorry, I'm going to just derail this entirely because that's what I do when I invite myself onto shows.
Wildcard rule.
Have you seen it? Wildcard, baby! Woo! Have you seen Jude the Dude London's dive from last night's PWA show?
I have, yeah. We were fortunate enough to be able to see it streamed, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. The first time ever live streaming on OVO Play. Get to OVO Play, guys. The replay's not up yet. I imagine they're going to edit it together like they normally would, and the replay will be up in the following days. But holy shit, like the video's making the rounds on Twitter and everything. I had an episode of the Aussie Graps podcast where I spoke to Jordan, who does the Ozres Gifts account on Twitter. And we talked about Paris De Silva and Jude the Dude London and how people will quite often, like Jude the Dude London kind of flies under the radar because, you know, Paris De Silva, he's gone viral. He does the Shooting Star DDT. No, who gives Shooting Star what? This guy fucking killed himself jumping. Like, I swear that balcony is like 2.5 stories up.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking massive. And every time I see a video from a new angle, like when they get the videos from people who were standing right next to him and you watch them move their camera and you're like, holy shit, like how do you stand there on that ledge and not just have a panic attack? How do you not just back out right there? Just like, nah, you know what? Look, I know the whole show's been planned, but I can't do this. Like, that would be me. It's insane. Jude the Dude London. Holy crap.
Nobody messes with the dude, clearly. So we have...
Yeah, and he's coming your way. He's coming over for EPW, I want to say it's Collision Course.
It's Collision Course, that's right. The Velocity is going to be coming in a couple of weeks.
Amazing.
So some other signings that we've got here. We've got Selena De La Renta. She's been re-signed by MLW. As I mentioned before, like, highest rated episode of MLW this week. Like, of course, no-brainer for that one.
Yeah, I actually haven't watched it yet. But I'm very excited to watch it. I love me some Selena De La Renta. She's probably the best non-wrestler in wrestling.
Be prepared to see her pretty much everywhere in that entire episode. We have Mauro Ranallo. This isn't a confirmed one, but it's expected that he's going to be signing again with NXT as the lead commentator. So, of course, what more can you say about Mauro? Mamma Mia, all that.
Mamma Mia. That's what you say. Mamma Mia.
And this one made me happy. Major League Wrestling have signed Ross and Marshall Von Erich. They're going to be appearing at Fury Road June 1st. They're going to have their debut. Yeah, the Von Erich legacy has... Yeah, I haven't watched the documentary. I forget the name of it, but...
Yeah, there's a Viceland documentary on SBS On Demand now called The Last of the Von Erichs. Now, obviously, that documentary is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Because we got 2 more signed to MLW right fucking now. Yeah. but no. Yeah, I actually haven't gotten to watch those yet. Again, there's a podcast coming, you guys. We're going to talk about the Viceland documentaries. And so that's in the works. And so I have to sit down and watch those at some point. Probably should have used the headache time to watch those instead of watching musicals.
It's live and learn, my friend. So MLW seem to be making all the right moves. Like, they've got the new generation of Heart Foundation, they've got the new generation of the Von Erichs. Like, they're doing all the right things. I love MLW. We have... Yeah,
man. I heard you're on the Hammerstone hype train.
I'm on the Hammerstone hype train. Like, I don't think they're going to give the Heart Foundation more gold. Like, it would be interesting, but no.
Dynasty, baby. Dynasty.
And yeah, I think that would further the story between him and MJF, like who's really in charge there. We do have a couple injuries, but it's not as dire as it has been the past couple weeks. So we have had an update from Tommaso Ciampa after he celebrated his birthday a couple days ago. The prognosis is good after 2 months, saying that he's. We don't have a time frame here, but it seems like we could probably see him hopefully at the end of the year, maybe a bit sooner.
I hope so. He was one of the best, and we want him back quickly.
We have, Impact have a bit of bad luck with their champions getting injured because Santana, one half of their Impact Tag Team Champions, he suffered a tear in his MCL at their Code Red show, exclusive on Impact Plus. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. So fortunately, it's not a big thing. Like they haven't had to vacate the belts, and they've still got the tapings going around. So a little bit of R&R. Impact. We'll be covering that tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
And you got El Desperado. He's out of the Super Junior tournament. He's got a bit of a jaw injury, so he's been replaced for that one. But yeah, some updates and a couple people just out with a few minor injuries, which is good. Can't complain. Hopefully there will be a week where there's no one injured, but this is wrestling.
Yeah.
So
I will complain about El Desperado being taken out of the Best of Super Juniors, though. I'm going to complain about that because he's in the same block as our very own Robbie Eagles, and I was looking forward to that match because El Desperado never has a bad match. He always has good to great. Robbie Eagles, good to great. So I felt like they were going to put on a clinic, and instead it's going to be with Ren Narita. So it's going to be a young boy whipping, which means Robbie Eagles gets a nice easy 2 points. But,
Bullet Club there.
Is what it is.
Take what they can get. So we do have a few people leaving from their positions. We do have Jimmy Havoc, not so much leaving, but he had his last Progress match, which was bloody as hell. If you've seen the photos for that.
Yes. We had our Patreon subscriber, Jules, was there, and I spoke to, as I said, Jordan from Oz Gifts, and he was there as well. And it was a sight to behold, apparently. He had to go straight to hospital after that match.
I don't doubt it. Jesus. And backstage news with WWE, we're gonna start it early, I suppose. Ryan Callahan, a Raw writer, has been fired. Apparently he had a bit of backstage drama with one of the other... I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he used to be one of the managers. Sorry.
One of the
Ranjan Singh. He used to play Ranjan Singh.
Right, yeah.
So apparently there was a bit of issues there, but so, again, more backstage drama in WWE, which... seems to be a theme.
Yeah, I don't know how much that's affecting it. I don't know how much it's all excuses because like things are going to shit and ratings are dying, so they're just like, who can I fire this week? But yeah, the writing environment for WWE doesn't seem like a healthy environment.
God, no.
Like at all.
That vacancy is probably still open at the moment from when Road Dogg left. So we'll see what happens there. But apparently, like the way they want to try and fix it is by this new innovative idea. I don't think you've heard of it, Greg. It's called the wildcard rule.
Wildcard, baby!
What did you think of this when you saw this?
WWE television this week was fucking awful, and I'm glad I only watch highlights.
Yes.
That's what I think. Yeah. I think WWE... Oh, man. Like, we know my mantra is positivity, right? B+, baby. Be positive. But I am so glad I don't have to cover WWE on a regular basis because it is very hard to be positive. Here are the things to be positive about in WWE right now. Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Bray Wyatt.
Yes. Yeah. And even then, like, Sami Zayn got thrown into a dumpster and Bray Wyatt is just, they're trying to figure out what to do with him. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, look, there's other things to be positive about as well, of course. They have the greatest roster ever assembled in the history of pro wrestling.
Yes.
Putting that out there. Like, the most talent in the world right now, from any point in history, if you took the talent in the wrestling world right now and compared it to the talent in the wrestling world at any other point in history, I'm sorry, but this generation of wrestling is the best there is.
Yes.
The best there was. The best, well, maybe not the best there ever will be. I'm always looking forward.
Always bigger and better on the horizon.
Yeah, but it's just insane how they've booked these people into oblivion. Think of all the people they had so much, like all the people that could have been such money. Like think about Bray Wyatt back before that. Let's go Rusev before the John Cena
Rusev
match,
Day.
right? Yeah, well, even Rusev after, and when he reinvented himself with Rusev Day, and they fucked that too. Shinsuke Nakamura upon call up. What about Bray Wyatt prior to the John Cena match. Bray Wyatt's had multiple times where he's been real hot, but they fuck it every time. Braun Strowman, remember when Braun Strowman was like the man?
Yeah, getting those hands. You wanted to get it tattooed on you at some point.
What happened? What happened to that? What happened to that guy? You know, what are they doing instead? What they're gonna push Lars Sullivan instead?
And he has his own share of drama, which you've heard about this, haven't you?
Yeah, and this goes to WWE management bullshit as well. But let the people know, man. Let the people know what Lars Sullivan what's been discovered this week.
So Lars Sullivan,
Which just quickly, quickly, I am against the bullshit where people troll through back catalogs of Twitter or back catalogs of forums to dredge up stuff people have said in the past. I'm against that. But that said, let people know, and then
so now we didn't want to get all the quotes from this because for the life of me they're very derogatory and inflammatory, but on a bodybuilding forum as early as 2013, just before he got signed by WWE, he wrote a few remarks on a couple of forums about just stuff, his thoughts on race, mental issues, sexual assault, homosexuality, and they left very much to be desired.
He basically, look, I don't like using this term. Like, I think that I don't like mainstream media.
No,
right?
I know.
And as soon as I say that, people are like, oh, he's a Trump alt-righter. No, because that's the thing, right? I don't like that alt-right label and how it gets applied to everyone and anything who is, left of Stalin, right of Stalin. Sorry. But he comes across as very much an alt-righter. Like, he's talking about, and this is a guy who allegedly a year ago, whatever, when he was supposed to debut, he had some anxiety issues that have delayed him. But just a few years ago on a bodybuilding forum, he's talking about people with mental health issues are weak. It's not real. It's just weakness. You're just being weak. Man the fuck up. And he's talking about, blacks like to steal and Mexicans are lazy. Like this, I can't make this shit up, people. He's talking about, I'm not really conservative at all. I lean libertarian, which as a person who believes in freedom pisses me off when people who are like, blacks are inferior and they're going to say I lean libertarian. That really upsets me on a personal level. So Lars Sullivan, buddy, you're cancelled. I don't cancel often, but fuck Lars Sullivan. Fuck him in his weak butthole. Yeah. Like, for real. Oh, man. And for his part, he's come out with a weak-ass apology. Today, I think it was. He came out and was like, that's not how I feel anymore. Yeah. But he never said, I'm sorry for the harmful, disgusting things. He said, I'm sorry if anyone was offended. No, dude, own it. You said some disgusting shit. Oh, man. I've said some disgusting shit in my day, too. Like, don't get me wrong. But I actually own that and be like, I've held some fucked up beliefs. The point is learn from it and grow from it and actually mean it. Don't just get caught. And the WWE management have apparently been aware of this for a while. Yeah. Big E, we'll get to Big E. Yeah.
So
Big E tweeted about this, saying like, everyone knows, man. He just has to live with the albatross of being a bigot in a company filled with minorities. I love Big E's attitude on everything.
I believe the word is karma for Lars Sullivan at this point.
But let's talk about WWE management though, right? The word from Big Melts, the word is everyone knows, and they're just hoping it lays low and doesn't become an issue so that they can just keep doing what they're doing. So if you're listening to this, don't let it lay low. Hashtag fuck Lars Sullivan. Fuck that dude. For real. Don't let it lay low. Fuck WWE management. Throw a wrench in the machine.
And it feels like at some point they would have probably reprimanded him, but like WWE seemed to have expected this to kind of blow over, which this is of all the issues they have, like this seems like one of the more higher priority issues to address, like PR wise, and the minor things that they have now, that seems like they go overboard in trying to quote punish everybody, and they really don't have their priorities right.
No, I would say instead we're going to get Lars Sullivan as the greatest Royal Rumble 2 winner with 60 people in Saudi Arabia. But he also hates the desert monkeys that have crazy religions. So, like, this guy can't even get over in Saudi Arabia now. Like, what the fuck? Just fuck this guy off. Fuck him off. WWE, what is wrong with you?
With all their faults, like, they have like the biggest international platform of any wrestling promotion. Like they've kind of secured that for themselves, and like they utilize it in some great ways, sometimes in some horrible ways, just because of the way they've gone about things. But they even won like what was
Man.
it, the Shorty Awards? Like
The shorty ones. I don't know. I love WWE, and a lot of amazing people work there. Like, did you see the thing this week with Baron Corbin on Twitter?
I don't
Like,
think so. No.
just randomly, someone had tweeted about like, I wish I could get to one of your shows. Like, it was someone who has autism.
Oh, I think I have. Yeah.
And he was like, send me a DM. Where are you from? And she let him know where she was from, and he was like, send me a DM with your contact information or whatever, and when we're in town, I will get in touch with you and personally make sure you can come check out the show in a safe environment, right? And you hear things about Roman Reigns and the boots to the wrestler, the kid, and he was just like, just be a good brother and pay it forward, right? To the kid who was at Seth Rollins' school.
Yeah.
And just, you hear amazing things about these incredible people who really believe in forward-thinking progress, love, spread the love, help the world, and they work in this company. Daniel Bryan is one of them, right? His character is real preachy about it, but he, as an actual person, is an amazing human being. There's a lot of them in WWE. But the actual machine itself, it's so easy to hate that
toxic.
machine.
Like, and I feel like I'm more on the hate side just because it's getting exhausting at this point, just pointing out all the flaws in the system.
Yeah. And like that they have people so brainwashed to how they do things. Like that's just the way it is. I mean, Mark Henry telling Leo Rush, like, dude, you should just carry the water. When Leo Rush makes a valid point, like, okay, like, it's a team sport, and that's the kind of thing that happens in team sports. And I do understand that to an extent. And it's sort of showing that you're a team player. And I do understand that to an extent. However, if Leo Rush as a young black man says, I feel as though it's going to look bad to other young black men out there looking up to me as a person who's made it of himself, right? Looking up to me, carrying water for other wrestlers as a young black man. That's a bad look that I do not want to portray. I got to respect that.
Yeah.
You know? And like, so the whole Leo Rush thing is another thing. And oh man, where are we going to start on this stuff? I'm all over the place. Yeah. I'm very upset with WWE this week.
I feel like they're going to punish him, like, because of course at the Greatest Royal Rumble, they have announced that Goldberg is expected to face off against Lashley. And I can just see in 2 short seconds, like Goldberg is just going to maul Leo Rush.
Yeah. Spear with jackhammer. Yeah. Well, you know what though? I think Leo Rush may have found the secret. He turned down a $300,000 deal. I think you spoke about this stuff last week, right?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, with the Revival turning down their $500,000 deals and him turning down this $300,000 deal because they're not paying their talent enough. WWE are not paying their talent enough. They talk. Our Danders and CJ talked about this on View from the WWE Universe. So if you want to hear an in-depth discussion about it, go back and listen to that. But they mentioned WrestleNomics Radio, which is a great show I listen to on Voices of Wrestling Network, and how they crunched numbers and they said like in NFL teams they get like 60% of their revenue, so gross revenue. 60% of their gross revenue goes to paying salaries for footballers, right? Whereas WWE, it's something like 12% or 19% or something of their revenue goes to paying wrestlers. Like it's not on par with what's happening everywhere else. And these guys have to pay their own road expenses. They have to pay their own hotels. And Leo Rush and all these guys having to do, like Leo Rush isn't the only one. There's a few of them that do it, like on the lower card, like Liv Morgan and stuff like that, having to do these cameo videos where you can pay $100 to get these wrestlers to say whatever you want. Like Big E did one where he did the Scott Steiner promo, right? The fact that these guys have to go on there and essentially, like, it's not beg for money because they're doing something for them, but essentially beg for money. I'm sorry. These are people that are on television worldwide week after. They should not be having to do that ever.
And
that's not a thing that should happen.
And like with all this infighting and all this like unhealthy working conditions, like how does WWE expect to be as we've been saying for months, like it's not supposed to be a competition, but when All Elite Wrestling finally kicks off, like how are they supposed to be any threat to All Elite Wrestling if they're infighting with themselves constantly?
Yeah, but not just that. Like their TV product is suffering as a
Yeah,
result.
people are realizing just
you
like
know?
there's other options out there, and just at some point you just got to say like they're not going to change, and they're just turning off the telly. That's yeah.
But here's the thing with Leo Rush. Here's the thing that I think. I think that he's speaking out a lot. I think he may have actually found the secret. I think he may be smart. He may be an asshole. I don't know. But I think he may be smart because Sasha Banks speaks up a little and she gets put on the bench and rah rah rah. Now she's at home.
Yep.
And Luke Harper asks for a release.
Yeah.
The Revival speak up about tag team wrestling. The Revival are getting embarrassed. Luke Harper gets more time added to his contract, and they're getting stuck into oblivion, and they're not allowed to do what they love to do. Right? Dean Ambrose was smart. He shut up. He wrestled out his contract, and now he's going to go do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Some of these other people, they have raised a little hell because we're sold this fiction that Vince McMahon likes people who stand up to him, right? No. And it may have been the case at one point in time. It may have been the case that he liked people who call him on his shit, but I don't think at 70 plus years old, I don't think he does anymore. No. I don't think he does. And even back then, like Stone Cold stood up to him and ended up going home.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I don't think it was ever true, but he likes the yes men. And so here's the thing is in comes fucking like Leo Rush, in comes these people that are questioning him, and he throws them to the side. He sits them under these arcane rules with the contracts. Leo Rush, however, he's just going to keep fucking up and talking bad and flipping off the system until he gets fired. Genius.
Yeah.
Genius move. More people do that. Sasha Banks, go into business for yourself. Like, be like, oh, I'm sorry. And when they bring you back and put you on TV to do something embarrassing like the Revival, just get on the microphone and do a CM Punk and cut loose, and then they'll fire you.
Yeah.
And then you can go do what you want.
Like,
that's the formula.
So they need to crack the formula, and hopefully, yeah. It seemed like
it's bad.
Yeah, it's getting bad. You have people, apparently with all the ratings, like you have people like Bully Ray saying like, oh, help fix the ratings, get Paul Heyman to run creative for SmackDown and a couple things like that. And
I don't know. I think the whole machine needs to change. The machine needs to change. I think as long as Vince is there, I don't think it can happen. I don't.
No.
And look at wrestling too. We talked about the writers' room and how bad the writers' room is. Like Paul Heyman is amazing, but that's when wrestling was at its best. ECW was Paul Heyman's vision with, Bully Ray, Taz, and Tommy Dreamer helped. Like they'd sit around that basement room talking about those ideas, right?
Yep.
And they helped. And everyone had a say in their own character. Look at the Attitude Era. Everyone had a say in their own character, right? But the general overarching story in the booking, it was done by 3 or 4 guys sitting around a pool. You listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, right? It was Bruce Pritchard, Vince, and the other Vince, and like they just sat around the pool. There was 3 or 4 people, and that's how it worked. That's how they beat WCW. What did WCW do? They had a massive committee of people, Dusty and at one point JR, and they had massive committees of people doing their booking, and it didn't work. No. And now WWE have gone down that route. We need TV writers. We want to be a legitimate entertainment company. Okay, get those guys to write your fucking movies, Vince, and go back to doing how you do wrestling, because wrestling is wrestling, and wrestling isn't wrestling as well, and it's beautiful, but
sports entertainment, like if nothing else, CJ Danders, you guys take one for the team, because Greg and I really don't want to keep talking about this.
Let's talk about something else,
Let's talk about All Elite Wrestling. They might be getting a TNT deal at some point. Like as expected, like we're trying to figure out where exactly they're going to be streaming from.
It's expected to announce on Wednesday, because on Wednesday TNT present their upfronts, which is they meet with advertisers and they show advertisers what they've got in their programming lineup for the next season to sell ads. And so we're expecting an announcement. That's on Wednesday. It's at Madison Square Garden. So we're expecting potentially the Bucks, potentially SCU, maybe Jericho, someone to be at Madison Square Garden with Tony Khan doing that whole thing. Maybe Jericho with his whole thing at the moment about, Cody's not my boss. Only I answer only to the Khans. Are you Cody Khan? Did you see that one?
No, I saw that.
Where he signed the check? Oh man. Anyway, it's looking like they're going to be at Madison Square Garden and doing that whole thing, and they're presenting to the advertisers and AEW. So they're going to announce it probably Tuesday before going to the upfronts at Madison Square Garden on Wednesday.
Looking forward to that. Some other news, got a couple of news stories as well. John Moxley he's making the rounds again. Not for where he'll end up wrestling wise, but he's going to be doing a movie. Apparently, his first movie since, was it 12 Rounds 3? I can't remember the WWE movies.
Wasn't he in the Marine 70? I don't know.
So according to a report from Deadline, so this project's going to be called Cage Fighter, where it's a WWE star crossing over into the MMA world.
Yeah, he's playing
He's
CM
playing
Punk.
CM Punk. Oh, boy.
No, because he wins. He's playing Brock Lesnar.
Wow. And
Yeah, it looks
it
good,
looks
man.
good,
Yeah. Jonathan Good is a smart businessman. He broke the internet with his video last week. He's staying in the news this week by announcing a new movie. You watch next week. Next week, he'll announce his first post-WWE date, and it'll be sometime in June. And then the week after, he's going to show up at Double or Nothing and crash the show to stay in the news cycle. I'm calling it.
We can
now.
only hope. We can only hope.
Yeah.
Let's move on to what everyone wants to talk about. Clearly, politics. Some politics. Some famous wrestlers have gone on to do some great work in politics. We have like Abe Lincoln at one stage. We got.
I thought you were going to say Jesse Ventura, but you pump out.
I pump out Abe Lincoln.
for-
Like, just of course, like people forget that. It's just a nice little fun trivia thing. But of course, you've got Kane. Is the mayor of Knox County, apparently, as well. Matt Morgan, of all people, is now the mayor of Longwood, Florida.
Yeah, and he spoke about how it's amazing, like it proves anything can happen, because he started out, on the short bus, essentially, right? Like he was not a smart kid. He had learning development difficulties, and now he's won a popularity contest in town, which is great for him. No, I'm very dismissive of politics. I'm super sorry.
No, I'm too.
But no, it's awesome. Good for him, man. Good for Matt Morgan finding life after wrestling. Anytime these guys can find life after wrestling. Didn't he get shot into space? His DNA?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like Matt Morgan is such an exemplary human body that they sent I don't know if it was his semen or what, but they sent part of his DNA into space, right?
The next generation of athletes in space. Matt Morgan bred. We'll see.
Some alien breed is going to find it, and we're going to be fucked when an army of alien clone Matt Morgans show up to conquer our planet, bro. I swear.
I mean, you've got Matt Morgan getting into politics. You've got Carmella. She's opening up a wine business. Like, these guys are slowly starting to carve little bits of life outside of wrestling for themselves. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, and good. This is something that NXT do now that's great. They actually give them business classes and all this sort of stuff, and sort of prepare them. Whereas in the past, like a lot of wrestlers just ended up washed up with no money, but now they're taught how to handle their finances and all that sort of stuff as part of their development as wrestlers, which is brilliant. It's good because you need to, man. You need to.
And I think we should end with our favorite moment of the week by far on this MOMMA LYNCH edition.
Oh, wait. Hold up. We have another potential here to get some Aussie graps into the conversation.
Oh, please do.
Did you see that Villain Enterprises are looking for a fourth member?
Yes, sorry, I completely forgot about that. So, Villain Enterprises, the Ring of Honor, NWA, World Series Wrestling Tag Champions, they're crushing at this point. They did a promo where they're talking about that they're looking for a fourth member, and World Series Wrestling, their latest tour is coming up in another few weeks. I mean, I hope, like, Mick Moretti would be my go-to if
the full rapscallion.
The full rapscallion, please.
He's a rapscallion. Yeah. What more do you want? He is a master of mischief.
Yeah. I would love, honestly, I would love for it to come full circle in Australia, where the Villain Enterprises, their origin story is here in Australia, and they've kind of gone on to Ring of Honor, and yeah, they've had one of the best years of any faction, I think, in quite a while. Yeah.
And honestly, look at the cast of characters, right? PCO, Brody King. Brody King's the most normal.
Yeah, Brody King's the most normal, exactly.
Brody King's the most normal. Marty Scurll, Brody King, PCO. You throw Mick Moretti into that mix, and then eventually Marty Scurll's going to leave, obviously. He's going to head to All Elite Wrestling. We know it's happening. So essentially that would make Mick Moretti become the leader.
Oh.
And he would thrive in that fucking role, man. I'm telling you. And he stole the show on Beyond Wrestling. Many critics are saying that he's been the star of the early days of Beyond Wrestling's Uncharted Territory, which you can watch on independentwrestling.tv. I believe it's $9.99 a month, and they do a weekly show on Wednesdays. Mick Moretti was a part of some of the early episodes of that, and he stole the show, according to myself, according to many other critics. Mick Moretti has been a highlight of that, so it's very possible that he's getting interest. Yeah, he's one of our best.
Absolutely. Now, we will end on, I was trying to say before, one of our favorite moments of this week by far, Momma Lynch edition here. Big E. Where to start?
Do you have the tweets pulled up in front of you? Because I don't have them, man. But goddamn, Big E is classic on Twitter. Big E's injury is a blessing for those of us who have the Twitter machines.
So really, like, this started as a little bit of a Twitter thing between Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch. Of course, they're going for the titles and everything else. And apparently it's Mother's Day coming up, of course, and Becky put a picture up of her mum saying that she's already met you. She's looking at just a blank bit of wood. And Big E starts to chime up saying that I would take my jacket off and toss it in a puddle for Momma Lynch. No, scratch that. I'll put my whole body in the puddle.
And let her walk across me. Momma Lynch is fine.
And then Becky kind of takes it into stride, saying E, she's married. But then the second conversation starts to come up, saying message her on her burn photo phone later. And then it's
message her on a burner phone. Yeah.
And
Becky Lynch has such a great sense of humor.
She's crushing it on Twitter. Anyone who gets a tweet from the man, and what.
So they go back and forth. Essentially, and they end up joking about, her becoming. She said, they joked about him becoming her stepfather as long as she doesn't have to be known as Becky Lynch, which was amazing. No, Becky Langston, wasn't it?
Becky Langston.
As long as she doesn't have to be known as Becky Langston, which I popped huge for that. They went back and forth for a while. And he actually showed up on Mark Henry's Busted Open radio show today. Have you heard this one yet?
I've heard a little bit of it. I had to pause because I was laughing.
All right. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it right
yourself,
now.
Guys.
How about before we play it, I think we'll end the show on this, right? So let's give our socials and go.
No worries, guys. So you guys can follow me on all the socials at Mr. Mysterious with a 1 and 7 I, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Let me know how you celebrate your Momma Lynch Day. How about you, Greg?
Greg Unchained on Twitter, the Greg Unchained on Instagram.
If you want to follow us all collectively, because we're a decent bunch, I think, you can follow us at the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit, and the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. So, guys, and as a reminder, we have our Patreon. Any amount you can donate would be greatly appreciated. Like, share, subscribe, hit that 5-star review, and get ready to listen to Big E talking to Momma Lynch.
Oh.
Well, look, she actually, I don't know if you checked, but we've been tweeting back and forth, and she very clearly approves of me thinking of her mom in this light and us possibly getting together. She even made a reference to me possibly being her new stepfather. Which
what? Wow.
Yeah. So as long as I don't have to, she's grown now, so I don't have to pay to raise her. But I'm okay with that. If it gets me to my end game, if it gets me to which is Momma Lynch, then I'll do what I need to. But one day I'll be able to squire her about town. Look, I don't know exactly all of her likes and needs and turn-ons and turn-offs, but, I'm going to get to the very bottom of all of that, Mark.
Whoa, easy, careful player.
Yeah. Big E, it would be kind of cool to have a stepdaughter that has 2 championship titles, though. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Right. I'd be very proud of her.
My daughter is Becky Two Belts.
Yeah, that's something to be proud of. I'm currently childless, so that's a good way to start. If you're gonna start with your first child, have her be a champion, and it's ready made. I don't have to wait 20 years for her to turn out to be something decent. She's already there.
She's already there. Chris, can you give us a little sexual chocolate, little slow music? There it is.
There you go. This is all for you, Big E.
This is for you. You can tell Momma Lynch whatever you want to tell her.
Well, Momma Lynch, I don't want to beat around the bush anymore. I got you running through my mind every day, like you on a treadmill, just running. And girl, you don't quit. I got a lot of time these days, a lot of free time. You all I think about, you all I tweet about. Momma Lynch, I'm coming. Don't you worry, Mama Lynch. I'm gonna be there real quick. And that's all that you get publicly.
Oh, that's good.
That's beautiful.
That's a little appetizer. You know what I mean?
That was beautiful.
I got to say the rest for her. That's between her and I. But I appreciate you putting in that sexual chocolate frame of mind. You know what I mean? Passing the torch.
Pass the torch.
Yeah. I appreciate that.